Hello and welcome to our show, Radhika Talks. Today we chat to a very interesting lady, famed photographer Val Adamson, and I can tell you no media personality will have a portfolio without Val's picture in it, although she'll deny it. So Val Adamson, thank you for joining us on our show, Radhika Talks.
Pleasure, thank you for inviting me.
Val, I have to ask you, what does it feel like being in front of the camera instead of behind?
I much prefer being on that side. I would say it's nerve-wracking being on this side.
Now, Val, you've been a photographer for many years, and some things I read about you is that, unusually so, you did your primary school education in Kenya. You had your high school education and your college education in Scotland. And here you are now, a photographer in South Africa. Just briefly, how did that come about?
Well, my father was Scottish, and him and my mother moved to Kenya, and that's where I was born. And then my father died when I was young, and asked my mother to have us educated in Scotland. So when we finished our junior school in Kenya, we moved to Scotland for high school. Stayed there for college. I couldn't handle the greyness and the darkness and the lack of blue skies. So I came to South Africa because my mother is originally South African. So I had relatives here. So I thought if I fell flat on my face, someone would pick me up.
Oh, great.
Yes.
You had a plan B then.
Yes. Support crew in the background.
Now, Val, you've had occasion to photograph some very interesting subjects. What for you has been the most awkward moment as a photographer?
I don't know about awkward for a photographer. I've had a lot of awkward people in front of me.
Tell me more.
I've done quite a few nude exhibitions, and the one in particular where I wasn't using performers, I was using just normal everyday women from the age of 6 weeks up to 60. And a lot of them had never been in front of a camera naked, and they came terrified into my studio. But by the time we'd finished, they were uplifted, proud of their bodies, and they said that it was an amazing experience. So it turned from an embarrassing situation to an uplifting situation. And not one person found it a horrible
experience.
Yes. None of them hated the experience. They all came out feeling fabulous about themselves, which was quite an interesting psychological experiment there.
Very interesting. I mean, it's not every day you can say that you've filmed nude people, but I suppose that happens as a norm in a photographer's life.
So I remember once I was in a game park with a very close friend of mine, and I suddenly went, "Oh, it has been such a nice backdrop, just take your clothes off." And she had to drive around with a t-shirt on to get rid of all the marks, and then we let her loose in the landscape, and she was running around saying, "I'm free, I'm free."
That must be a story for the grandchildren one day, for both of you.
Yes.
Now, Val, also on the plus side, you obviously would have, witnessed so many lovely things. What is the highlight of your career thus far?
One of my favorite days, I spent a whole day with Madiba, because he was opening the Grahamstown Festival, and I was the official festival photographer, so I was the only one allowed to be with him the whole day and following him around all his engagements. It was a very special experience, it really was. He's an amazing man.
Well, you are so fortunate to have come in contact with such greatness. Yeah, so you are very blessed as a photographer.
Yeah, and another really interesting one was on one of my exhibitions. I was sponsored, and I promised my sponsor, which was AGFA, that I would get a nude at the bottom of Victoria Falls. So I was there during a rafting festival, and I got the guy that won the King of the Zambezi, and we went all the way up to the bottom of the Victoria Falls, paddled up in a canoe, walked up, got to the bottom of Victoria Falls, and he stood on this rock, hanging on with his feet because it's so slippery, and I took pictures of him at the bottom of the falls. It was amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. You're obviously very convincing as a photographer. If you can get somebody to do that, so my hat's off to you. Now, Val, you're accustomed to such good quality photography. What is your comment on this new selfie craze that everybody's so crazy about?
Sort of mixed, because in some ways it's easier for me in that people are so used to doing selfies, they're more relaxed in front of a camera. I find the young people are much easier to photograph because they've all been posing away. But I also feel kind of this determination to get a selfie with someone you're missing out on the actual moment of communicating with that person. All you want is a selfie to say, I was with that person, but you weren't really. So,
And also, some people are really taking inappropriate selfies, like at a funeral and the scene of an accident as well.
yeah, I mean, it seems to be their only mission in life is to do selfies. I find it very odd sometimes.
And what do you think about, social media and people posting some, really inappropriate photographs? What are your thoughts on that?
Also, not so keen on that. What I do find sad is people posting pictures that should be only for themselves and their families. In the old days, you'd show pictures of the grandchildren running along the beach, with not much on. Whereas now you put it on social media and then everybody's is looking at it, and who knows who is looking at it. So it's a bit scary. I try and warn my own son to be careful about social media and what goes on.
You know what, I agree wholeheartedly, because these pictures form part of the public domain, and anybody can have access
And
to
once
it.
they're there, they're there.
For the good, yes.
Yeah.
And you must know they can put it on any other illicit site as well. So I think, yes, I agree with you. Especially parents, they need to exercise some measure of restraint when posting up pictures, especially of little kids, because they trust their parents to make right decisions.
Yes, definitely.
And, flowing from that kind of discussion, I want to know about what are your thoughts on photoshopping? That is like the craze now. Everybody is getting the most shopped pictures, and sometimes you can't recognize the person in reality. It's like it's a completely different person, but you obviously will have some comments about it because, you're a photographer. And what are your thoughts on it? Because my concern actually is that especially magazines, they're portraying such unrealistic expectations for young women.
Yeah, when they start shaving bits off their bodies and making them slimmer. I will go as far as removing bad skin and maybe just a little bit of bags under the eyes if it's not their normal state. If someone's got a few spots, they don't have that every day, so I'll take them off. And if someone's very tired and they have darkness under here, I'll take that out. But to start taking out wrinkles and all that kind of stuff, then you're not portraying the person. And that person might send that picture to someone, and then when they walk in the room, they'll say, where's the lady that was in the picture? So, you've got to be careful because there's so much you can do on Photoshop.
Absolutely. So it'll amount to a misrepresentation.
Yeah.
I'm representing myself, but I'm not really this person.
Yes, exactly.
So do you think we should encourage some legislation with regards to media advertising, like this picture's been photoshopped or airbrushed?
I think so, because as you say, it's very unrealistic when you see this incredible skin. And there was one advert a few years ago that showed the beginning person and what was done at the end, and they'd elongated the neck and made the cheeks a different shape, and it just wasn't the same person at the end. And what's the point?
Well, we've heard so much from your photographer point of view, and I'm just having a look at it. Is this your everyday camera?
Yes, this is with my small lens. I have a much longer one than that.
Oh my God, you could lift weights with this.
Whatever, it gives you good arms.
and good arms you have, Val, because you're obviously in very good shape. I suppose lugging that bit of equipment
and all
around.
the lighting and all that. There's a lot of equipment I carry around every day.
Yes, I can imagine. Val, we've heard about you, the photographer. Tell us a little bit about Val, the woman.
Well, my main achievement in life is my son.
Okay,
so I'm a single
good.
mum, which does prove a lot of difficulties because I work ridiculous hours.
Yes,
sometimes
I can
I'm
imagine.
working late at night, sometimes early in the morning. Much as I love the fact that I don't do office hours, it can be quite challenging with the child. But we make a plan. I've got a very good team of friends and we all help each other out. I've got a lovely lady that works with me as au pair, photoshopper, assistant, everything, helps my son with homework, and she's fantastic. So you have people like that around, you cope.
Well, you're very fortunate to have that kind of support structure,
Yes,
because
I
there are lots of single moms out there who want to make some progress in their careers but are so stifled due to the lack of support. So you're very lucky in that regard. And talking about photographs, give us your hot tips for the perfect picture. We can't let you go away. I mean, you're such a seasoned photographer. I'm sure you're going to share some gems with us as to the best pictures.
Okay, you must always remember to lean forward because it gives you a good chin line, because so many people go like this. They think it's fabulous sitting and then you've got a fat chin. So you must always lean forward, and also 3/4 of an angle is quite nice. But some faces look good straight on. So if you're in a social occasion, someone comes up to take pictures, just make sure you lean forward. That's my best tip. Works for everybody.
Oh, great. I must implement that the next
Yes.
time I'm posing for my selfie too.
That's why people do selfies from above.
Yes, absolutely. To
Good
hide
chin.
all of that.
Yes.
Yeah, Val, you're an absolute delight. Now, I have a few very quick questions because I really want to get to know more about Val the woman. I have a few quick questions and I want you to pick a choice quickly. Laid back holidays or adrenaline filled?
Both.
Handbag or shoes is your guilty pleasure?
Neither. I've got like 3 pairs of shoes.
Slops or heels?
Slops.
Tofu or paneer?
Paneer, definitely. Butter paneer.
Oh, okay. So you're a vegetarian?
I'm a vegetarian.
Any
yes.
regrets giving up meat?
No. I think it's much healthier.
Well, that must be the reason why you look so good at the age that you are.
Thank you very much.
Val, thank you for being on our show. You've been an absolute pleasure and we've learned so much from you. You really are an inspirational woman, juggling motherhood and career with such finesse. So from the team at Radhika Talks, we want to extend our heartfelt thanks to you for joining us on our show. And we really wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Thank you very much.
And thank you. And I'm so glad to see you doing the show about women. That's what we need.
Thank you.